Onto our developing story for tonight. Various parties have voiced suspicions regarding the Ceylon Electricity Board's decision to call tenders to purchase electricity from private power plants, citing urgent need. They believe that there is no cause at present to resort to such a measure. Cabinet granted approval last week for the purchase of electricity. The CEB accordingly published a tender notice on the 1st of this month to purchase 55 megawatts of power for urgent needs. As per the tender notice, bids must be submitted prior to the 8th of March.
Who can make an order at a time like this? This is a serious question. What happened suddenly? If the question arose with regard to a transformer, a question arises as to why a power plant is being purchased without addressing the transformer issue. There is a huge doubt regarding this in the field. Through the completion of a power plant in 3 weeks, there will only be an expensive and an unfavorable solution to the country.
As per the tender, successful bidders would be required to supply the required power by the 28th of April.
අප්‍රේල් 28 පද්ධතියට විදුලිය දෙන්න පටන් ගන්න ඕන. ජූලි 28 වෙනකොට
they must supply electricity to the grid by the 28th of April, but the agreement will end by the 28th of June. It will be over. What is the time period we are obtaining power as an immediate measure? It is during the time period that we experience the southwest monsoonal winds and rains. How can there be an immediate requirement during a time like this? This cannot be justified in any way. There is a question whether there was a technical fraud that took place. There are privately owned power generators even now that are used for the generation of power during emergencies. When you collect all of these, there is approximately 300 megawatts. But the deficit here is 55 megawatts. If there is a sudden short-term problem here, that can be resolved if these power sources are switched on once again.
The CEB Engineers Union says that they do not approve of this step either. However, they point out that if the government is to provide an uninterrupted power supply, authorities will be left with no alternative but to purchase electricity from private power plants.
This is very suspicious. We are aware that in the past, the mafia of private thermal power plant owners and a class of powerful officials entangled with the CEB carried out such transactions. The crisis that has arisen as a result of the CEB's lack of vision and planning has increased demand for this mafia, which wishes to prolong the crisis. In the end, the burden of the losses incurred will be placed on the ordinary people of this country. This government has commenced working to obtain power from the private sector. They have said that they are even prepared to pay an enormous sum of money to the private sector. How much is this? As per the earlier agreements, the minimum charge is 17 rupees per unit and the maximum 67 rupees per unit. I fear that when such agreements are signed, the burden falls on the ordinary, impoverished people. They will have to pay. The water levels of our reservoirs have receded far more than we expected. The drought is one reason. Improper water management is another reason. Considering the continued functioning of hydropower plants, the cabinet decided to call for tenders for 55 megawatts of urgently required electricity at competitive pricing. This matter is being conducted with transparency. We will not allow any act of fraud to occur through this.